A very good evening to you, all viewers, and welcome to Youth Impact, where we are not just talking about growing up, we are growing up talking. This show has been brought to you by Success Africa in partnership with KUTV. I am your host, Derek Kwesi. Now, in this era of luxury cars, and as my generation would call it, soft life, there is an intense pressure to get rich. And while at it, several youths have found themselves in the deep holes of gambling. Today, we find out the why, the how, and the when. Success Africa went out to the streets, and this is what they had to bring for us.
Hi guys, this is Youth Impact. I'm Kenya Joy, and today we're on the street to hear the youth's opinion on gambling. And this is what they had to say. Can you please tell us your name?
My name's Daniel Ngoge from Rwaka.
Okay, ushai gamble.
Nimewahi gamble.
Okay, unaweza tuambia kama ushai lose pesa in gambling na nini nakufanya bado uendelee kugamble even after losing the money?
Okay, for me, nimewahi lose pesa kwa kugamble na ilikuwa lot sum of money. Nililose ka 10k na haikuwa juu ya ball pekee, pia karata, vitu kama hizo, na nika lose do mingi sana kutoka kwa mfuko yangu. Yeah.
Aya, unadhani, according to you, do you think gambling is addictive?
Yeah, it's addictive because vile mimi nilianza nilikuwa natoa pesa more frequently, na hiyo inafanya mtu hadi inaweza lead mtu to suicide.
Aya, advice yako kwa youths on gambling ni nini?
Naweza advise my youth wasigamble juu gambling ni kitu mbaya sana, na hadi kwa Biblia imekataza, unaona, na inafanya mtu hadi ana lose pesa mingi na hadi una commit suicide, kitu kaa hiyo.
Kindly tell us your name and what you do.
I'm Dennis. I'm still a student in the engineering department.
I'm Caleb. Ndio nataka Caleb Kikorir, ndio I'm joining campus. Yeah.
Okay. So today the topic of the day, it's on gambling. Have you ever gambled?
Personally, no.
Nah.
Okay. Because you've not gambled, what do you know of people who have gambled and lost money, or what do you think is the impact of gambling on people?
Yeah, I know of someone who gambled and lost cash, but I don't know. I don't have details to it. Yeah.
I have known people who gamble, and from their stories, they say that the first time you're gambling, let's say the gambling company tends to give you like whatever you're expecting to have, but as you continue like gambling now, you lose money. And I've seen people move from like grace to grass, not from grass to grace. And other people, because I had a neighbor who won, I think 220 million. That was a good thing, but I wouldn't advise anyone to do gambling though, for the youth.
Okay. Do you think gambling money sustains people?
No.
No, cause okay, there's this saying that kitu ya free, like kitu ya bure tu na inaishanga tu bure, as in when you receive gambling money, it's like free money, so inaisha tu hivyo.
Can you please tell us your name?
My name is James Kamau from Rwaka.
Aya. So, ushai gamble?
Mimi nishai gamble.
Aya, impact ya gambling kwako ni imekusaidia aje?
Impact tuseme ni 50-50, unaweza lose ama upate do, but as for me inanisaidia.
Unaweza ambia ni youths on gambling wa gamble ama wasi gamble?
Mimi naweza waambia wangambo, but wangambo responsibly.
Joining us on set today is one Brenda Onyango, psychologist by profession. The very few master's degree holders we have in the country.
Oh, we are many.
That is because I don't have one myself.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on set today. Maybe for people who've not had a one-on-one conversation with you, you'd like to tell them who you are.
Okay. My name is Brenda Onyango. I am a counseling psychologist by profession. I am also a mental health awareness campaigner. I am the founder of a campaign called Mental is Human Too. And through that campaign, we share information about mental health on social media. We've done a documentary, we have a website where we've published articles about mental health. I also teach kids life skills. I volunteer at a project in Babadogo where I teach kids life skills, kids from 4 years all the way to about 21, 22, those going to college. Yeah, so just breaking down mental health and life skills into content that young people can understand.
Wow, that is a lot. I feel like saying, my name is Derek Wesley, I do this, you have quite a lot of things that are going on, especially at this age, getting to achieve that much. Mileage is so good to your development as a person.
Yeah.
So before I even go to gambling, I'd maybe ask you, have you gambled before?
I have not. I have not gambled because I understand the addiction part of gambling and I don't want to risk it. Yeah.
So what is gambling addiction? Because people might not understand what exactly is gambling and what is gambling addiction.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So let's start by defining what is addiction. Addiction is a habit or a behavior that you do, you start slowly, then you continue into it until it starts affecting your life. It starts affecting your personal life, the goals you've made for yourself. It starts affecting your career, things you do, your occupation. It affects your relationship. And even as much as you'd want to stop, it gets to a point where you can't. You promise yourself, I'm going to stop. You promise other people, I'm going to stop. You do everything you can, but you just can't find yourself stopping. So that is when you know you've become addicted to this thing.
When it becomes completely out of your control as a person.
Yes, when it becomes out of control, you're trying to stop, but you can't. That is one of the signs that you need to look out for. That this thing, there are many signs also, which I believe we'll talk about, but it gets to the point where you're struggling with it. It has overpowered you. So that's an addiction. Gambling is anything that you're doing that you are betting, you are hoping for the chance that you might get it, you might be on the right or you might be on the wrong. There are many things that we do that could be gambling, but to put it in the context of Kenya, I would say what we do with the betting, sports betting, and what we have in the casinos, where you are putting in money with the hopes that the odds will favor you.
So
and
you get more.
Yeah, and you get more money. You get to win. And hoping that you will become rich.
Hope is a beautiful thing, they say. So how can gambling become addictive? Because from the analysis and what our youths are saying in the streets, literally every single one of them has experienced gambling. But at what point do you realize that it is becoming addictive? It is becoming too much. Talking of the signs of gambling as an addiction.
So gambling is actually considered a mental disorder. Gambling addiction. Yeah. Anything that becomes an addiction, it becomes a mental disorder. Yes. So for anyone to be diagnosed with a mental disorder, you have to be assessed by a psychiatrist. And when the psychiatrist is assessing you, there's a certain criteria that they have to follow. They have to look at how long has this been a problem? Is it impacting your life? What I just spoke about, is it impacting your personal life, your relationship, your occupation? They also have to look at what are some symptoms that you are displaying. So are you constantly thinking about this thing? Are you preoccupied with it?
If you cannot take it out of your mind, basically.
Yeah. You know how when sometimes you like a certain girl or a certain boy.
That I can for sure relate to.
Yeah, you keep thinking about them all the time. Like when you wake up, when you're eating, they're just all over in your thoughts. So if
it's literally all you can think of.
Exactly. So if you're obsessing about this gambling thing like that, that's one thing to look out for as a red flag, is a symptom. If you get irritated when someone asks you about it and you're anxious about it and you don't want to be asked about it, that's also another sign. If you're going out of your way to get the money to gamble, that's also another sign that you need to look out for. Because the thing about gambling, you start small and then it grows and grows, and now you want to do it more.
It develops.
Yeah, it develops. And so you'll get to a point where you run out of money. And when you run out of money, you will start borrowing friends and you're not able to return. You might end up in the unfortunate situation of having to sell some items, your personal items, so that you can get the money to go and gamble. When your money runs out, you'll start selling the items of your wherever you're staying, your household. If you're staying with your parents, you will find yourself going to sell those things so that you can get the money because you have exhausted your savings. So you see, you're going out of your way to feed,
ensure that you feed the...
Yeah, you feed the desire to place a bet and feel that excitement.
So what are some of the myths? Because I made to understand you're not forced into gambling. It is something that is probably shown to you as a young person and you get into it. But it has quite a lot of misconceptions behind it. So what are some of the myths and misconceptions that are getting youths so much attached into gambling that they cannot stop?
So it gives them false hope. It gives you a hope that you're one day going to drive the fast car, the luxury
Ferrari.
car. Yes. You're going to have the soft life, you know. The myth is that you can become suddenly rich. Yes, there are a few people here and there who gamble and win and their life changes. But there's also the statistics of how many people lose the money
As
within
compared
the
to
year.
those who win.
Those who win and lose the money after just a short period of time, and those who win and maintain the lifestyle. The ones who lose the money and lose the lifestyle are more than the ones who retain the wealth, you know. So number one myth is that you can become rich, and it's giving you false hope, you know. And that works especially here in Kenya because of the economic status that we are in. We are a developing country, so many youths are unemployed, and those who are employed are earning very low. It's the maths of the economics is not mathing.
It does not balance.
It's not balancing.
It is not bringing what education promised us.
Yeah, but also you have to be patient, you know. As young people, we need to be patient with the times and just our chance is coming. If you work hard at anything, eventually you'll see the fruits. Yeah.
So what is the impact of peer pressure? Because young people are quite social beings. They get to interact online and literally on all social media platforms. Some people have also openly claimed that they have been driven into betting and gambling by their friends. So as a psychologist, maybe you tell us the impact of peer pressure in regards to the same topic.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that if you see your friends doing something and you see them maybe betting and winning, you'd want to do the same. Yeah. But this is what I'll tell a young person. Always assess who you're hanging out with, you know. You are the average of the 5 people around you. So if these 5 people are also gambling, you will eventually find yourself gambling also. Whatever they are doing will rub off on you. Yeah. So as a young person, know yourself. Yeah. Be a purpose-driven young person. Be someone who makes their own decisions. You see, just because your friends are doing something does not mean that's the right thing to do. It doesn't mean that's the way you should follow. Be someone who sits back, who has mentors and role models, who educates themselves and empowers themselves, so that when the peer pressure comes, you can say no. You can be like, how am I benefiting from this? Is this viable? In 5 years, is there something as a professional gambler or professional bettor? Like at the end of the road, what am I trying to achieve?
What is the end goal for doing this?
Yeah.
So throughout your career as a psychologist, have you probably met people who have come out victoriously from the gambling addiction?
So on an individual level, I have not. I have read of how some people manage to get out of gambling. Of course, through mental health professionals helping them through the process. So seeing a counselor, a therapist who can help you with behavior change. And if you are in such a severe state where maybe because of this gambling you're experiencing things like depression, extreme anxiety, then that is where the medication comes in.
Oh.
So fortunately, if you're addicted to gambling, you can be assisted through medication and therapy. Yeah.
I'd like to ask, do we have people who, or maybe healthier ways through which youths can engage in gambling, just in case we are not able to completely kill gambling? Because we understand it's a business that has employed people of all ages, including youths. So do we have healthier ways to go about gambling, maybe?
That sounds like a trick question.
It sure is.
Because anything that can lead you to addiction is very dangerous, you know. Addiction is it's dangerous. Anything that can make you slip into addiction is something that I would recommend that you avoid, you know, because you don't know to what level you will do it until you eventually get to the point where it takes over you, you know. So you can tell yourself, actually many people don't start that I'm going to get into gambling and I plan to be addicted. People start with, I'm just going to do it for a while.
And then I stop.
Yeah, I'm going to do it to just make some money and then I stop. But unfortunately, you end up being addicted. Yeah. So I don't think there's a way you can do it in a safe way.
So the best advice is gambling is a complete red zone.
Me as Brenda, as a psychologist, my advice to all the young people is don't do it.
Of course, they should listen to you. You are professional.
Yeah.
So getting a master's is not easy. So maybe because young people are people who are close to their parents, maybe they have mentors, as you've said. And we'd also understand parents are not as professional as you are as a psychologist. So how best can parents maybe help their kids or people within them who are struggling with gambling?
So if you notice that someone close to you is struggling with gambling, it would be best to talk to them, understand what they're experiencing, and then refer them for professional help. Yeah. Let them go see a psychologist. Let them go get an assessment from a psychiatrist to establish what is the level of addiction that they're experiencing. Then from there, the psychiatrist, the psychologist can work together to come up with a treatment plan, something that will help them get out of it, something that will help them manage some of the ways in which they're becoming hooked, you know, things like behavior change. They'll be able to look at, why do you gamble? Maybe because you have the money,
Yes.
you need to channel that money elsewhere, you know. Why do you gamble? Oh, because you're bored. Maybe you need to find something that is more interesting, something that will engage you, you know. So by working with professionals, you can see where the problem is and then now work on things that will help that person deal with the addiction.
Talking of accessing this help, how affordable is the help to a common youth who's probably from a middle class level? 2 to 3 meals a day is quite a challenge to them. How affordable is the help?
Mental health treatment is not cheap. I'll say that for sure. The medication, seeing a therapist is not cheap. But as a young person, there are places where you can get affordable or free support. Yeah. If let's say you're in college, not many, but if you're like in a university or a government TVET institution, some of them have a counseling center or a psychologist who's been employed. Go and see them, yeah? Don't be kept away by the stigma. If you're in a learning institution, ask, is there a counselor? Can I go see the counselor? That will be the first step you're taking towards making yourself better and dealing with the situation. There are churches that also offer support for counseling. You can start there. There's Red Cross, which offers free counseling. There's a hotline they have. So look for that number, have it, call it. Make it, you're a young person, you're supposed to know how to research and seek information. In the area that you're staying, find places where you can get support for mental health. Yeah, so that if you can't afford to pay a private psychologist or a psychiatrist, there are those resources that young people can take advantage of. Yeah.
So are there any laws or regulations that are maybe safeguarding youth from getting so deep in gambling? Because I know we have the best I've seen is a restriction, an age limit that restricts people. It says 18 plus, but people are betting as low as 15 years. So do we have regulations maybe from the laws that are also geared towards supporting young people to avoid gambling?
The government has done what it can do. You know, when it comes to gambling, I like to look at it from a personal perspective, because before you bet, every app, every platform, there's usually a terms and conditions. And before you proceed to the next step, you have to accept the terms and conditions.
Which they probably don't read.
Yeah, exactly. We always just, oh, okay, let me just stick that and go on.
You scroll it down, agree.
Yes, agree without even checking. So those, you said it's a business, it's employing people, there's money going back and forth. So for them, the obligation to the general public is to present those terms and conditions. And you who's engaging with the platform, you're supposed to accept. It says there you're 18, but the government will not come and check on each and every young person to see if they are of the age and they've met the terms and conditions. So this is more of an individual's responsibility and our guardians and parents' responsibility to ensure that your child, if you're going to give your child a phone, you have to monitor. Yeah, if you're giving your 15-year-old a phone, have parental control on it. If you're allowing them access to the internet, take the responsibility to check what are these kids looking at. Yeah, what are they signing up for? Because now government cannot go around and checking
everybody's phones.
Yeah. So it comes back to the parents.
Now, I'd like to understand if there are maybe any educational campaigns aimed at preventing gambling addiction among people. But before you get into that, just a brief overview of what is mental is human too, and why exactly mental is human too.
Okay, all right. So let me start with if there is any campaign. I have not come across any campaign except now this platform that we are talking about it here. This could be one of them where we address the issue of gambling addiction amongst young people. But generally in the mental health space, there's very little campaign going on. We need more. We need more people talking about mental health. We need more funds for the mental health sector. We need a lot more, yeah? And that answers the second question of what is Mental is Human Too. Mental is Human Too is a mental health awareness campaign that I started after I saw the need of how there is so much lack of awareness, and how if someone has been diagnosed with mental illness, they really suffer so much because people don't understand what they're going through. You know, our African culture, our Kenyan culture, if someone has mental illness and they're having anxiety, or they are schizophrenic, where they are having hallucinations and they're delusional, they say you've been bewitched, you've been possessed.
Become a reject.
Yeah, people reject you, you know, there's so much stigma. So I started that campaign to share information, to talk about it, to put a normal Black face talking about depression and anxiety to the fellow Black people, so that we see that this is a human thing, you know. Even that person who has schizophrenia is a human too. So that is where the campaign started from.
Wow, I am overwhelmed. Now, I wouldn't want to ruin the lovely conversation by adding more. And so I just ask you to looking at the camera, maybe give an advice to the youths who are listening to us, who are struggling with addiction, those who are probably planning to start gambling as soon as today. What advice would you have for them?
So if you're a young person and you're thinking about joining the betting world, I would request you to consider something else. Yeah, if you're looking for money, get a job or volunteer. Yeah, start volunteer. Start small. Do not be ashamed of the little beginnings. Everyone starts small. If I were to ask Wesley here, he would tell you he also started somewhere. Yeah. So start small with whatever thing that is available to you, then build that, you know. Everything we are starting, we have the potential to be experts in that field. So take the time to start small until you become an expert in that field, and you'll gain that financial freedom that you're looking for. Do not be in a hurry. Hurry has no
There's
blessings.
no blessings.
Yeah. So start small, start with what you have, and eventually you will make it there. If you're someone who's currently into betting, and maybe some of the things we've talked about here have made you ask yourself some questions. Am I going to be addicted? Am I heading in the wrong direction? Seek out for help. Reach out. You can reach out to me actually through Mental is Human too. My contacts are on the website and everywhere on social media. And then we'll see how we can help you. If not me, find the resources that are around you. If it is your school, if it is your church, if it is a government hospital, look for those resources and seek help. The earlier the better. The earlier the better. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Those are quite good advices. And of course, Wesley started small, and as you can see, he has grown so much in terms of height.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you. If you want to become this wise, please make sure you get a master's degree. That would work for you. So Brenda, I'd really like to thank you so much for joining us on set. Quite insightful. I know a lot of people are not going to look at betting sites the same way they did. Yeah. And of course, if one thing I'm taking from this conversation, it's the fact that nothing comes on a silver platter. Let's go out there as young people, work for all that we want, and inshallah, we will all get to that place. Thank you so much. We take a short break. When we come back, we bring you the Youth of the Week. Are you terrified by mathematics? Well, worry no more, because on the Youth of the Week segment, we bring you Anne Gathura, who has established a mathematics club that motivates kids to enjoy and love mathematics. Let's have a look.
It is a common stigma that mathematics creates fear within students. Is it a myth or a fact?
The LCM, we can be able to start with 2, right?
26-year-old Anne, a graduate of actuarial science, is trying to change this norm that math is a challenging subject to the fact that math is a beautiful subject that can be made easier if you focus on the prime hurdles.
Come back to the question, okay? So you multiply every section, okay? You group them like...
During the pandemic, Anne, being a passionate mathematics enthusiast, started teaching her neighbors mathematics because she did not want to stay idle, and yet she had skills she could share and help kids progress in mathematics as they were not attending school at that time.
This is a club that has been birthed out of passion. It's something that I love doing. It's something that I enjoy doing. So we come together, just do maths practice. It could be mental math, and just guiding them to seeing the beauty of maths, how they can use it to solve problems at home. How can they use mathematics, how they persevere while working out a question, how can they apply that method as well at their home and wherever they are. So we are just here to guide them into logic, thinking, and all that, just guiding them into the beauty of maths, seeing them through excellence and how they can be able to achieve.
Anne's Math Club's initiative's main aim is to help students learn mathematics while at home and helping them develop a positive attitude towards mathematics. They do this by assisting students in sharpening their mathematical skills, as well as offer mentorship to boost their confidence and change their attitude towards mathematics to make it more fun and lovable. Anne has also managed to take her initiative online in order to reach a wider audience, hence impacting over 10,000 students. She has organized boot camps across the country and partnered with schools to form math clubs in order to encourage students in a fun way to love mathematics. She is especially keen on the girl child who are normally not drawn to mathematics on changing their mindsets to loving mathematics because it is a core subject and it is applied even after school in our day-to-day lives, as it helps us to have analytical and reasoning skills which are essential because they help us solve problems. This initiative has led to change of attitude among students and improved performance in this subject.
She has been taking our learners through the Maths Club and just telling them how maths can be possible for each one of them, especially the girls who had an attitude that maths is the only it's for boys. But now we've seen a change of attitude. They're able to embrace maths, they're able to do their calculations, and the club is moving very fast, and the other learners are also embracing it.
I love the progress. I love the change of attitude with the students that we haven't interacted with so far.
I've got the courage to do maths with a lot of love and passion and care. It has been great, and I love mathematics.
Before she came, I could not have calculated some sums. I could have seen the people of math, then tension could have come to me, but now I have no tension and I have courage in doing mathematics. I love Aunt's Math Club.
From our lovely guest today, mental is human too. No matter how deep you've gotten yourself into gambling, there is hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can always come out. All you need to do is to take a step, find the right people, and ensure that you work on yourself. Thank you for staying tuned to Youth Impact. I am your lovely host, Derek Wesley. And as always, we say, stay curious and keep making a difference. Until next time, adios.